Welcome to Explain America. I'm your host, Kyle Becker. Well, there's really bad news for Democrats and great news for Americans. And we'll get into this story, but it could mean the end of the Democratic Party, and that's not hyperbole. Before we get into this, please like, share, comment, Explain America. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Now, the Democrats for the longest time have been getting by in major elections with one stupid person trick, you might call it, and that is controlling the urban vote, controlling the cities, putting up their machines, having their, just going door to door with their electioneering and the get out the vote. And essentially, this is what's been keeping the Democratic Party alive despite massive shifts in support, especially in the suburbs, particularly among men, but some women. Even Latinos have been going more for Republicans, and Black Americans are going more towards Trump in the last election. So we'll have to see if this trend keeps going. But here's the thing. Donald Trump has issued an order to have a crackdown on crime in the nation's capital. And he has threatened other blue cities with the same thing, whether it be Philadelphia and Los Angeles. Obviously, these blue state governors are not going to want to cooperate with him at all about this. But the reason that they don't want to cooperate with them is very interesting, because they actually don't want him to prove how horrible these states are at managing crime. And these cities have been an absolute disaster. And really, enough is enough. I think there is warrant for getting some outside help, whether it be the FBI, the National Guard, and just do crime sweeps in these cities, because the Democrats are not interested in cleaning up crime. They love chaos, they love misery, they love poverty. This is what they exploit, and they have no reason to fix these problems because it's not good for them politically. That's the sad truth about it. You can go to any state that's run by a Democratic governor, the state gets worse. You go to any city where there's a Democrat mayor, the city gets worse. It's not an accident at this point. It's been decades of this. It's intentional. It is intentional, because when people empower themselves, they don't need the Democratic Party. That is bad for them, and that's why they're not interested in fixing problems. Well, the D.C. residents have had enough of the rhetoric and the fear-mongering about Donald Trump. They're actually appreciative of what he's doing in D.C. because they're getting safety and security. You know, like every human being on the planet who's ever lived, what they want. Imagine that. Let's hear from them.
I enjoy having extra security. I think it's a good thing. I mean, you want to feel safe when you're out and about, especially females.
It's a good thing because it actually reinforces the fact that America is secure, safe, stable.
Elliot Reed says he supports the federal involvement.
As a moderate, as a centrist, I think something needs to be done. I have 3 kids. I'm about to start teaching next week. I want it to be safe.
Well, this is a very interesting development, and I think that if Trump continues to push this in the cities and have success stories of cleaning up crime in major cities, well, I think that's going to prove a very stark contrast, and he could flip some of these cities and make, at the very least, make them less blue and put a lot of districts and Senate seats and governorships in play for Republicans. I think this is really something that the Trump administration can press on, and that's why they're fighting him. That's why the judges are intervening and trying to say, well, Trump can't take control of the police, and we have to change the chain of command, even though Pamela Smith, the D.C. chief, doesn't know what the chain of command means. We'll change it, and Trump can put requests in with the D.C. police. They don't want him to have the credit, even if there's a Home Rule Act. They don't want him to have credit for this. And it's just fascinating, because the Democrats, they have to be dragged kicking and screaming to do their jobs, to do their duties. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Well, weigh in with your thoughts. What do you think about these D.C. residents standing up for Trump's policies in the Capitol? I think it's just hilarious. And I love it, and I want to see more of it, because the more criminals they get off the streets, the better it is for Trump and the Republican Party. And law and order, that's what we're all about. So let us hear from you, and we will look forward to getting your feedback.